I guess we'll start, I mean, where it all starts, songwriting. And tell me a little bit about the background going into this record. I mean, you had quite a bit of time between, when you did the first album and when it came out. Did you use a lot of that downtime to write songs, or was this stuff more recent?
It was a little bit of both. I think as a songwriter, you're kind of always songwriting. You're always just kind of doing it. I'm never like the inspiration just kind of hits you when it feels like it, rather than you trying to force it.
Cool. Yeah.
I always just kind of have a list of ideas that it's like, oh, if I want to work more on this, I will, or here's a newer one. And there were a handful of ideas that I had already bookmarked since the completion of the last album of like, yeah, I can't wait to work on these. And then, it's like when you start to work on new ideas, then you get more excited, then you come up with more ideas, and that just sort of snowballs. But there were two moments specifically. One moment right when the world shut down in March, April of 2020.
Yeah.
Right. Man, I'm home. I'm gonna record, and everything is gonna be great. And that was not true. Uh, made about 4 demos. I think I made the demos for Another Celebration, Better Than You. Let's see what else. Um, right, and then for one more, I can't remember. Um, and then the world shut down and everything happened, and I lost all creative desire, and then everything else happened in my life uh, later that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was on, and then Mammoth begun, and I haven't really stopped since. The only moments here and there, I think one of the largest breaks I've had in the last 3 years was after our co-headline with Dirty Honey, the Young Guns tour. I think I had
Right.
about a month and a half after that, and during that time, I ended up writing uh, like 6 or 7 more ideas, which brought the ideas I had ready for Mammoth 2 to about 12, I think 12 or 14.
Cool.
And from there it was just ready to go. I was excited to get with Elvis, and to start pulling the ideas apart, and getting up in the studio.
Cool. Excellent. Now, how do your ideas start off? Do they, I mean, you play all these multiple instruments. I mean, you start off on drums? Do they start off on guitar or just in your head?
Usually guitar, and I kind of like to make quick sort of minute long demos of whatever idea I have, almost like as a not with any structure. I like to call them like idea showcases, where I just kind of put every variant of the idea I have possibly just back to back. Just give 8 bars of each sort of thing.
Right.
Um, and then from there, I get with Elvis, and he's like, "Yeah, this is good. Keep working on that." And it's like let's explore this. And then from there, I kind of finish everything up, and we get into that. But it's like I like to, with the drums especially, because like they're all just Logic demos. I make sure to keep them as bare and
Right.
boring as possible, so that when I go into the studio to record, that's when I kind of flare it up and add the personality to the drums, and to allow it to be kind of sort of a spontaneous in the studio writing sort of thing.
Cool. Now, this album, it leans a little bit more towards the harder and heavier sound than the first album. Uh, Sort of a focus. I mean, there's still a lot of variety there, but was that kind of the outset, or was it kind of just the timing? Just the state of the world. Is that what influenced it, or was just
Yeah, I think that too, but I think just the desire to do a little something different.
yeah,
I think different is exciting as long as it doesn't stray too much from what has already been established.
right,
So I think that's sort of my desire, is that it's like, I want to give, a reason to listen to the next album, so it's like I'm excited to try something new for the third album.
sure,
It's I that was what keeps me going, and is exciting in the recording process, to kind of be like, hey, we haven't done that before. That's cool. What is this going to sound like, sort of thing. And I think that's where you get, the gent-esque breakdown and right, and in like the super heavy, almost like Gojira Tool middle of Optimist
Oh yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that, where it's just like I love heavy music. I'm sure everybody in the world is so tired of hearing how much I love Meshuggah, but it's true. I love
Yeah.
Meshuggah. So it's just, I guess that's just kind of where that inspiration comes out. And it was fun to let that part of music I like out and see how my own songwriting, where that took it. And I guess that's what it is.
And I just have to say one other general comment: the melodicism of your songwriting and everything. I mean, what the cool thing about it, I was listening to it again today, and just kind of just came to me. It's like you could rearrange a lot of these songs for other genres. That it doesn't have to necessarily be heavy, you know.
Yeah, I think that's where you get a lot of the criticism from some like staunch sort of every genre has their sort of gatekeepy, this is how it should be sort of
Right.
fans. And I think when they hear that my music has melody, sing along sort of melody and choruses, it's very important for me. I think that's where people are like, oh, it's pop, it's not, it's not heavy, it's not real rock and roll or whatever. And it's like that's what I love about music is I think in this album, I think Right is the perfect example of the music that I like to make, where it's that it can be as heavy as it is, but also it's just as melodic, and they don't override each other. Choruses are very important to me, and I love good melody.
Yeah, no, it's definitely and really strong. I mean, that's the thing. I was just listening to it and going, like, gosh, I could hear this done as a piano and acoustic guitar arrangement, and whatever it's other stuff, but it's so cool that it's, you know, it could be open to that. That's the
Yeah,
thing. There are
thank
other
you. I
artists
mean,
taking it and doing it, an interpretation.
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my ideas do stem from just me and an acoustic guitar, so I think that's where that could also come from too. So
Cool. And your lyrics, I think the lyrics are really on point here. I see kind of a overriding theme of frustration and hope, you know.
yeah, I think that's where, if there was a title track, it would certainly be Another Celebration at the End of the World, given just the vibe and also the album cover for one as
Yeah.
well. And I think I think a lot of people listened to the first album and thought that I was working through, what had been publicly happening in my life at the time. But I finished that in 2018.
Right, right.
So everything, the world shutting down, me losing dad, and me trying to figure out how to live my life without such an important factor uh, is uh, is all coming out on this record. And I think that's where, I think maybe that is where the heaviness steps, where that comes from, and where it's a bit darker as well. But I think you do feel a little bit of that hope kind of mixed in with that,
Oh,
certainly.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, the other just I mean, this is moving more into the making of the record, but it seems like you got this done pretty quickly. I mean, you had kind of a lot of time to do your debut album. I mean, we had your dad mentioning it in 2015, and you finished it in 2018, and it came out, much later. And it's but this time you really just banged it out. I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, we only had so much time, and that was, I would like to not do it that way again, but considering that arguably we came out with a better product in a fraction of the time, maybe that is the way to do it. Sort of just hope for that lightning in a bottle sort of vibe. But yeah, it certainly it did get stressful at points, but we did it. So
Amazing accomplishment. I mean, because that's the density of the arrangements, the tracks. When you listen to it, there's so many Easter eggs, and there's so much going on. And this is the kind of record I hear that takes a lot of bands well over a year to finish up, and that's with separate members. That's not just one person doing everything.
thank you. Yeah, I really do. That was just kind of the main thing I wanted to avoid. I was like, as long as it's not a sophomore slump, it needs to be as good or better.
Oh yeah,
Uh, and
yeah.
that
Sophomore
was
slump went on vacation when I heard your record. So like, I give up. I'm done. Yeah.
yeah, that was desperately the only thing I wanted to achieve. I just wanted it to be I wanted the quality I don't know. I don't think that would have happened either way, because it's just I'm very OCD and perfectionist with it, where it's like I don't think I would have released it had I not been proud of it or felt it was good enough.
Cool. Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
but yeah,
mission accomplished. He did an awesome job.
thank you.